Having recently restored this Gameboy Advance SP with a new IPS backlit screen, shell, buttons and rubbers, we felt it was the perfect opportunity to retrofy it. However, this time we ditched the 3-in-1 cartridge adapter and start with the FamiVance. Being compatible with both the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance SP, this peripheral plugs into the cartridge slot of your console and allows you to play all your favourite original Famicom games. We were lucky enough to get our hands on some new old stock, which was fully boxed and came with its original manual, AV out cable and the device itself, which lucky enough came with the original copy of Metal Slug. The adapter features a cartridge slot, a volume control, headphone jack, an external speaker, as well as LED lights and reset button. It can be powered off 4 AA batteries or via the original Game Boy Advance power port. As previous builds, we want to create the ultimate Game Boy Advance tower. So in this instance, we decided to use the FamiVance as the base. The first part of the build involved powering the base unit. We opted for battery power in this instance. Similar to other third-party peripheral devices, the FamiVance works off booting the original Game Boy Advance cartridge slot as a bypass function to read the Famicom cartridge. With the batteries installed, the peripheral is a simple plug-and-play device. With the base of the build complete, we then focus our attention on the next part of the stack. And in this instance, we used a third-party aftermarket LCD screen intended for the original Famicom top loader. Having purchased this device several months ago, we thought it would be a perfect addition to the tower. Being located in the Southern Hemisphere, the 60-pin adapter wouldn't work, so we decided to add an aftermarket adapter that we sourced from AliExpress, which converts the 60-pin cartridge slot to a 72-pin cartridge slot. To step up this build and add a little more of that aftermarket flair, we decided to pull out the big guns. So in this instance, we decided to use the iconic EverDrive. The N8 EverDrive was the perfect solution to our retro game tower. This flash cartridge features NTSC, NTSJ, and power compatibility, as well as a battery save option. And with a little finessing, the EverDrive fits into an original NES cartridge shell. We then paired it up with a 512 megabyte SD card filled with our favourite NES ROMs. With all these aftermarket accessories added, the console could barely hold itself up under its own weight. In all, the console measured approximately 13 inches or 36 centimeters in length. With its immense size and no longer being portable, we also decided to weigh the console. The final weigh-in came in at 2.5 pounds, which is the equivalent of about 1.1 kilograms. Enjoying this video? Now's the perfect time to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now the question you've all been asking yourself, will the console actually boot and load the NES cartridge? Well, after numerous attempts using brand new batteries, the console would boot, however, the LCD screen wouldn't display correctly. The image appeared distorted, pixelated, and the color palette was incorrect. So we had no other option but to boot this console off mains power. And lucky enough it worked. Every aftermarket accessory functioned bar the LCD screen via the adapter. In this instance, we decided to test the console's functionality by playing Aladdin. All the buttons appeared to be responsive and gameplay was smooth. However, the image quality wasn't the best and the console lacked audio output. The next logical test for this Game Boy Advance SP tower was to see its functionality on the big screen via AV output. As per the bench test, the third-party aftermarket accessories wouldn't function off battery power. So once again, we had no other option but to use mains power. Surprisingly enough, the Famivance booted on the large TV screen and was able to display an image in 360p in unison with the original Game Boy Advance IPS screen. Using the original 3-meter cable, there was no control or image lag. The only noticeable difference in comparison was the color palette, especially with the greens. Keeping our eye on the camera, Game Boy Advance IPS screen and the TV monitor was a little tricky, however we got the hang of it in the end. Overall, we were quite happy with the outcome of this tower, as A, it was fully functional and B, it was also able to play on the big screen. Being a tower and accommodating 4 aftermarket peripherals, this console was never going to be portable, but that wasn't our intention. The purpose of this build was for an amusing video that all retro lovers would enjoy and share.